infrastructure, like it was said, is their core competency, their main one. The company has developed its market niche through acquiring knowledge of foundation building and managing multi-million-dollar construction projects. While in the Ukraine, the company should be flexible due to the following three reasons. First of all, a lack of resources, like I said earlier, or a delay on such. Second of all, a readjustment in project budgets, because the Ukrainian authorities and UEFA do play a major role in deciding how the budgets are laid out. And third of all, timelines that have been already adjusted. There has been previous trends where the timelines were, redistributed or postponed as far as when the project should be completed.
As far as brand strategy goes, IMTCMEI already has a strong image featuring quality, execution, and safety. We make fast decisions and produce quality results. In the short term, our goals are to focus on the projects related to the Euro Cup, with the long term focusing more on gaining a strong position in the Ukrainian market, and that's basically going to be based off of our results from the UEFA projects. And the rest of the marketing mix was really going to show how we're going to implement our brand strategy to reach these goals.
So, due to the vast amount of infrastructure development that's needed in Ukraine, and Caitlin mentioned before, this includes airports, stadiums, the hotel industry, and the list goes on. Every project that IMTC takes on is going to be different. Every project is going to be specialized for that particular investor and that particular company they're working with. And a lot of the times, the government, although they do facilitate things, the Ukrainian government doesn't really have much choice in what goes on, just because they have to meet certain deadlines, which they're falling back on. So this actually fares well for IMTC, because they don't have to deal with the political corruption and the regulatory inefficiency that Ukraine is known to have. A lot of the supplies that IMTC gets for its construction sites come from local Ukrainian suppliers. And a lot of the managers for these projects are managers they found from similar firms, European and U.S. firms that have similar, tastes and similar objectives that IMTC has. And labor workers that they employ are from local Ukrainian firms. And this actually puts IMTC at an advantage because they don't have to train these labor workers.
As far as pricing, from the very beginning, the pricing was the total cost of the entire renovation and expenditure of the infrastructure in Ukraine started first in the 20 billion euros and gradually went up. And right now it's standing at 42 billion euros. And pretty much Ukraine has done with a lot of, like I mentioned before, a lot of poor accountability. Therefore, IMTCMEI has to constantly adjust its books, and due to also the current economic crisis and traded goods going up due to scarcity, pretty much Ukraine has right now, currently as we are showing, has $11 billion of loans that itself has taken, and he has also $8 billion of $8 billion of account receivable that he has received from the EU banks, and also therefore, in respect of everything, putting everything into consideration, Ukraine right now cannot be charged at a premium pricing, and also the IMTCMEI cannot fully, as I mentioned, cannot fully be charging any lesser than the price that are given or charged at the lost cost.
So as was said earlier, placement of IMTC projects are spread throughout the cities, and they're very different in nature. So something they have to take into account is the difference in budgeting and labor and services when they're doing these projects.
We're just going to boost your advertising real quick. Ukrainians are very skeptical of advertising because during the USSR's rule, advertising was significantly only used for political propaganda. So they're really skeptical of it. IMTCMEI has already entered the market because it is a member of all of these business organizations, which basically foster business relations and connections. Ukraine is struggling to develop as a nation and defines its identity. So the most successful strategy that we can suggest for IMTC to continue their work in the Ukraine is to demonstrate care and support of Ukraine. and of its economy, because it's a highly nationalistic society. And Ukraine, IMPC can do this by utilizing local concepts in its advertising. And we suggest that they enter trade fairs because they're really prevalent in Ukraine and very important in the business world. And here's a list of a bunch that go on just annually, biannually, and they're just specific to project management and catastrophic reconstruction. Thank you. Any questions and comments?
One question. Just one question. We have one question?
Yeah.
What do you think the best strategy is to implement, like, to beat your competitors?
Well, a lot of the times it's not really like we have competitors per se, where it's more price war when you bid, and give an honest price. And right now, a lot of what Ukraine's going through in their infrastructure development, a lot of these bids they received, the firms are dropping out of the placement of the projects because the bids they gave were just unrealistic. So to give a realistic price, to emphasize our strengths, would definitely, and to continue and start a project and complete it would definitely put us at an advantage.
And to add to that, as a foreign competitor, we already have an advantage because we have money, which Ukraine really doesn't. So it needs foreign investment. So we pretty much have the advantage.
Okay, thank you.